What if I told you the modern world isn't stealing your attention so much as you're renting it out by the minute to the highest bidding notification? Not because you are weak or broken, but because your day is built like an open-air market instead of a fortress. You wake up and hand the keys to a rectangle of glass. Your first thought belongs to other people's emergencies, other people's highlights, other people's opinions. By noon, your brain is a hallway, and every app is shouting from a doorway. By night, you are exhausted, not from lifting anything heavy, but from moving in 1,000 tiny circles. The ancient Stoics didn't have smartphones, but they knew something we keep forgetting. Attention is the front door of character. What you admit through that door is what eventually lives in your house. Control that door, and you control your day. Lose that door, and the world will redecorate you with its worst taste. Today we're going to lay down 7 brutal Stoic rules that will let you shut the door, lock it, and invite only what deserves your hour. We will not chase hacks or trends. We will build guardrails, rituals, and sentences that hold when the day tries to take you. And before we start building, make one small promise in public. Subscribe to the channel right now and hit like so this training beats the outrage machine in your feed. Then tell me in the comments as we move. Does this happen to you, that reflex to check, that itch to switch, that feeling at 10 p.m. that you worked all day and built nothing that matters? Do you know someone drowning in tabs who needs this? Tag them. Say what room of your life leaks attention the most: work, study, family, late night scrolling. Your comment is not decoration, it's a stake in the ground that says your hours are yours again. The first rule is the gatekeeper hour. The first 60 minutes after you wake do not belong to the marketplace. They belong to you, your duty, your craft, your mind. If you hand them to the feed, you train your nervous system to begin in reaction instead of command, and your entire day will bend around that opening posture, so the phone sleeps outside the bedroom or in a drawer. You meet the morning with water for the body, breath for the mind, and one honest sentence for your mission. The breath is simple math. Your nervous system understands. Inhale through the nose for 4, pause 1, exhale through the mouth for 6 to 8. 5 cycles. Shoulders down, jaw loose, vision wide. You are telling your biology, we are safe, we are steady, we are the captain. Then a sentence on paper, not a speech, not a dream. A sentence that defines the spear you will throw today. If I finish this, the day is a win, even if chaos visits. The spear is a verb and an object, not a cloud. Draft the proposal, record the intro, edit the chapter, design the mock-up, study the problems, train the body. Put the first line where your eyes will land so starting costs nothing. People will call this extreme. Good. Excellence is always extreme to people who live in default. In a world trained to begin in noise, a calm beginning is a competitive advantage. The Stoics built mornings that told the day what it was allowed to be. You will do the same. The second rule is notification famine and the diet of inputs. Your attention is being nibbled to death by tiny wolves, and you keep tossing them snacks. Every badge is a bead on the necklace of someone else's plan for you. Turn off anything that is not life and safety. No banners, no badges, no buzzes. Group the rest into 2 gates inside your day, not a river you stand in all morning. News becomes a single short reading window, not a constant drip of worry. Social becomes scheduled visiting hours, not a roommate. Your home screen goes grayscale so the casino floor loses its lights. Your phone lives in another room when you're doing the work you claim matters. You will hear the myth that you must always be reachable. Ask yourself, reachable to whom, for what, and at what cost? The Stoics practiced fasting from comfort so comfort wouldn't own them. You will fast from notification so novelty doesn't. Keep a card on your desk that says, inputs make climates. If you feed yourself crisis, you will feel crisis. If you feed yourself performance, you will perform anxiety. If you feed yourself signal, you will produce signal. A diet is not a punishment. It is a promise. Promise your mind quiet enough to think. The third rule is the one-tab rule and the lag before switching. Multitasking is a rumor told by apps that want to be your boss. Your brain can only hold so much context, and every time you pivot, you tax the system. So you open one tab, you set one verb, and you go. The itch to switch will arrive like a child tugging your sleeve. Name it out loud, urge to switch. Do not negotiate with it, because negotiation is how you lose. Stand up, drink water, exhale longer than you inhale twice, sit back down, place your hands on the verb. You are not seeking inspiration, you are training state, and you install a sacred 2-minute lag between impulse and switch. Unless there is danger, you do not allow yourself to leave the verb for 2 minutes. This will feel like a lifetime to your pride and like oxygen to your craft. Most days you will discover that the itch was boredom in costume, and that boredom is the doorway to depth. We live in a culture that has forgotten what it feels like to cross boredom and arrive in flow. Cross it. On the other side is the work you keep postponing while calling yourself overwhelmed. The fourth rule is to carve deep work arcs and put shallow work in pens. You cannot create anything worth respect inside a hailstorm of small asks. You need stretches of time long enough for your mind to sink under the surface and swim. 90 to 120 minutes, twice a day if your role allows, once if it doesn't. Start on time even if you feel clumsy. End on time even if you feel on fire. Protect the ending as fiercely as the beginning because boundless work breeds burnout, and burnout is a thief disguised as dedication. Shallow tasks, email, chat, approvals, logistics, live in corrals at late morning and late afternoon. If something doesn't fit the corrals, it gets scheduled for the next one or it gets declined with a clean sentence. When a colleague asks for a quick call, you request the outcome they need and the deadline, and you offer a constrained alternative like a 2-minute screen recording by 4. You are not rude, you are clear. The most respectful thing you can do for a team is protect attention long enough to ship the work the team exists to ship. Your calendar becomes contract. If a block doesn't exist, the work doesn't either. If you consistently break your own blocks, you teach everyone, including you, that your word to your craft is optional. Do not teach that. The fifth rule is, environment dictates behavior. If your desk is a junk drawer, your mind will browse. If your phone is an altar, your day will worship it. Make the place you build look like a place people build. 2 tables matter, the desk where you make and the table where you eat. Clear both. Put tools for the current block within reach and nothing else. Keep a start ritual basket. Headphones, pen, water, a card with your breath count. The first line of your task, your boundary sentences in case someone tries to rent your attention. Light the same candle. Open the same track, close the same door. Ritual is a handle your mind can find in the dark. End your shower cool so your body learns that comfort is optional and focus is available. If you work at home, choose a corner that exists only for deep work. Don't eat there, don't argue there, don't scroll there. Your brain loves zones. Give it zones and watch how quickly it obeys. And because the environment extends into your digital life, make your desktop blank. Your dock sparse, your notifications quiet, your apps hidden behind friction. You are not discovering discipline, you are constructing it. The sixth rule is boundaries without biography. Meetings that have no agenda, no outcome, or no owner will devour the brain of a city if you let them. Interruptions disguised as tiny favors will shred the best arc you've planned. People will attempt to schedule your hours for you because you look like a calendar. So you speak in sentences that set standards and you keep the consequence. I don't decide under pressure. I'll reply at 10. I don't attend meetings without an agenda and a decision owner. I'm heads down until noon. Send bullets and a deadline. We don't use that tone with each other. I'm ending the conversation now. You do not explain your childhood to justify a boundary. You do not escalate your volume. You do not apologize for a rule that exists to guard the very work people hired you to do. If someone calls you rigid, breathe and remember that gravity feels mean to falling objects. In a week of kept boundaries, the room will adjust. In a month, you will have a schedule. In a quarter, your name will be said with an adjective you cannot buy: reliable. The seventh rule is memento mori scheduling, or the refusal to organize your life as if you will get 1,000 more Tuesdays. Remember you will die and watch the cheap distractions step back like shadows when the sun comes out. Remember they will die and your patience will return in bus stops and waiting rooms. Remember this day will never come back, and you will stop donating it to loops that have never produced anything you're proud to sign. When you plan your week, include a Sabbath hour where you rest without numbing and a free craft block where you make something without outcome pressure. When you choose what to read, choose something older than your phone at night so your attention hears a human voice instead of the hum of the machine. When you sit with a person you vowed to love, actually sit with them, eyes, face, quiet, and notice what that kind of presence does to your nervous system. It calms it in a way no feed can. We talk about the attention economy as if the economy is the villain. The economy is just the market we created. You can choose to be a buyer of novelty or an investor in meaning. Death clarifies the ledger. Let it. Take a breath with me at the midpoint. If your shoulders have dropped and your lungs feel deeper, that's not an accident. It's the body recognizing a plan. Now convert recognition into commitment. Subscribe to the channel and hit like so this training shows up the next time you are about to donate your morning to a timeline that has never paid you back. And tell me in the comments, does this happen to you when you open your eyes and reach for the glow? When you sit down to work and grow 10 new tabs? When you promise yourself sleep and give yourself scroll? Do you know someone who keeps saying they have no time while feeding 100 tiny fires? Tag them. Write the sentence you'll use today when a request tries to rent your attention. Public words are small rails. Rails hold when the wind rises. Now let's move from rules to rooms, because rules live or die in rooms. Work first. You begin your gatekeeper hour before the office wakes up, even if your office is your kitchen table. Water. Breath. Spear sentence. First ugly line. When the first ping arrives, it meets a locked door because you are inside your ark with your phone asleep in the other room. You keep going long enough to hit the first quiet, the one that always comes 20 minutes in when the mind realizes you're serious. A colleague knocks, digital or physical, and asks for just 5 minutes. You use the sentence you rehearsed. I'm heads down until noon. Send bullets and a deadline. They either do, and you reply in your gate, or they do not. And the problem turns out to be smaller than their urgency suggested. A meeting invite lands with no agenda. You decline with a sentence and request an outcome and an owner. If they appear, you reconsider. If they do not, nothing of value was lost. You ship at 80% and schedule version 2. You end your arc on time so you can begin the next with a brain that trusts you. At 11:30, you open your shallow gate and handle email in 25-minute corrals. You use templates that compress back and forth into a single pass. Decision first, context second, deadline last. You breathe out long before replying to heat. You never send hot. You never let a stranger's tone decide your day. At 4, you open the last gate, clear what must be cleared, and then you close the shop with a ledger. What I did, what I learned, what I'll do next. The phone goes to sleep. The lights go down. You give your body cues that tomorrow will find you ready. 1 week of this and your stress drops while your output rises. 1 month and people say you're lucky. Luck looks suspiciously like kept rules. Now relationships, where attention is felt as respect. You tell the people you love what you are building and when you'll be done each day, and then you keep the ending like a curfew you gave yourself. You put a basket by the table and the phones go in at dinner. You ask one question and listen, really listen, with the 2-beat pause that honors their nervous system as much as yours. When conflict knocks, you do not let your thumbs decide what your mouth will say later. You step out, cool your chemistry, and return with a sentence about impact and a request about the future. That landed heavy. Can we try it slower? I want to hear you. I'll come back in 10. We don't use that tone with each other. I'm ending the conversation for now. The conversation ends because you said it would. It resumes because you are building a house where attention is a gift, not a gamble. You forgive faster and grant access slower because forgiveness heals you and access trains them. The room learns your rhythm and relaxes into it. When the room relaxes, you get back hours you didn't know you were losing to fight or flight. Now social media, where distraction has teeth, you decide in advance when you visit and for how long, and you honor that window like any other gate. You publish usefulness, not outrage, and you mine criticism for signal and mulch the rest. You block liberally, you mute without ceremony. You do not attend every argument you're invited to because arguments are often free entertainment disguised as moral duty. You remember the view from above before typing, a planet, a speck, two primates with nervous systems performing for each other on a rock. You ask whether this act serves your craft, your family, your body, or your soul. If it does, you do it. If it doesn't, you put the phone face down and you put your hands back on the work that lasts longer than dopamine. Your day becomes quieter in the best possible way, not empty, but free. Now the late hours, the most expensive attention of all, the loop calls, and you think you can buy sleep with one more swipe. You cannot. You run the shutdown creed. 3 lines of ledger, 3 outcomes for tomorrow, tools staged, lights dim, shower ends cool, breath out longer than in, phone goes to exile, book older than your phone. Sentence you say to your body, we are safe, we did enough, we know what comes next. You climb into a dark room that forgives your mistakes by repairing your brain. You wake and you do not ask a screen who you are. You decide in a chair. It is boring, it is holy. It will make you a person other people trust because your attention won't arrive at breakfast already spent. Let's fit these rules to specific identities because students, creators, managers, and parents wear attention differently. If you are a student, your friends will try to make their panic your schedule. Do not let them. 2 deep arcs for the class that matters most, 1 for the next most, 1 shallow gate for administrative noise, and a 10-minute walk after meals. No screens in bed. Study while your brain is still kind. If you are a creator, the platforms are casinos, and your craft is the cash on your table. Post after you produce. Batch recording, ship at 80. Version 2 on calendar. Comments in 1 gate. The rest of the day belongs to the thing that got you into this mess. The joy of making. If you are a manager, your job is to protect attention at scale. Cancel meetings that exist to measure anxiety. Replace them with memos that carry decision, owner, deadline. Publicly guard your gatekeeper hour so your team knows they can do the same. Celebrate shipping, not performance. If you are a parent, your attention is a mirror your kids learn to look into. Ritualize device baskets, eye contact, hallway hugs, and 10-minute islands with each child where you let them steer. Your house will feel calmer. Calm houses are built, not wished for. You will break these rules. You will wake and swipe. You will keep 20 tabs open like trophies. You will answer hot. You will doom scroll at midnight and wake up regretting a day you haven't met yet. Stoicism doesn't file a complaint. It hands you the repair. Own the miss in 1 sentence without biography. I broke my morning and gave it to the feed. Atone with 1 act that repairs what can be repaired. Close the app, go for a 10-minute walk, and write the first ugly line now. Adjust 1 piece of the system. Charger moves to the kitchen. Notifications remain dead. News window shrinks to 10 minutes after lunch. Advance with 1 thing done before lunch that future you will thank present you for. Shame turns a stumble into a spiral. Repair folds it into the story you actually want to tell. Let me give you language you can carry in your pocket because language is a lever. When your hand reaches for the phone, you say, "Not now, we are building." When someone demands an instant decision, you say, "I don't decide under pressure, I'll reply at 10." When a meeting appears without an owner, you say, "What decision must we leave with and who owns it?" When your pride wants to announce a goal, you say, "Block it or it isn't real." When perfection tries to delay you, you say, "Useful today, polished Monday." When boredom whispers that switching will help, you say, 2 minutes and then we'll see. When fear says you need to be reachable, you say, "I am reachable at the gates and reliable the rest of the time." These sentences are not poetry, they are guard dogs. Train them. You might be wondering, what about emergencies? What about realities? What about bosses who think chaos is culture? Emergencies break blocks. They do not break the system. You do what must be done, and then you run a post-mortem. What broke? What buffer will we build? Who needs a boundary? Realities can be harsh. Start where you are. If you can't have a 90-minute arc, take 45. If mornings are chaos, guard the first hour after the day's first meeting. If your boss is allergic to calm, Begin with the lag and the no hot sends rule. Earn permission by producing. People respect boundaries that produce fruit. And if your culture worships urgency as identity, you can still cultivate a small monastery inside your day and quietly change the weather around you. It is amazing how quickly a team follows the person who ships on time and does not bleed drama. Let's place these rules inside a 7-day on-ramp, spoken in one story instead of a checklist so it stays a single thread. On the first morning, your alarm finds you and you find water, breath, a sentence, and a first line before you find the feed. You finish a 90-minute arc, open a gate, handle noise, and close it. Night finds you writing 3 lines of ledger, staging tomorrow, and sleeping without blue light. On the second day, the itch to switch is loud. You name it, drink, exhale, and stay. It fades, as all itches do when ignored. You feel the first quiet arrive like a friend you forgot how to greet. On the third day, a meeting tries to squat on your morning. You send a sentence and demand an outcome. The meeting shrinks into an email. You ship at 80, even though pride wants 99. You schedule version 2 and watch how your brain relaxes the second you assign a time. On the fourth day, you open a gate to the feed, find something that wants to hijack your mood, and you don't let it. You mind signal, you mulch noise. On the fifth day, you guard dinner like a ritual and learn something about someone you love you would have missed in the glow. On the sixth day, you fail and repair instead of fail and spiral. On the seventh, you audit your week with mercy and precision. Where did the wolves slip in? Which rule cracked? What lever buys back the most attention next week? You choose one subtraction, one automation, one reinforcement. You write them down and you begin again, quietly, steadily, like someone who intends to be here a while. Right here, breathe and anchor with a second public act, because mid-journey is where people drift. Subscribe and like so the platform learns to show you rails instead of glitter. And right below, does this happen to you in the morning? At the desk? On the couch at midnight? Do you know someone living inside their phone who calls it life? Tag them. Share the one rule you will keep for the next 7 days. Gatekeeper hour. Notification famine. One-tab rule. Deep work arcs. Environment dictates behavior. Boundaries without biography. Memento mori scheduling. Put that rule in a sentence that begins, "Today I will." The comments are not a gallery, they are a contract. We are almost home, and home is the place your attention returns to when it is done working. Let me give you a creed you can say when the day tries to tear holes in your focus. My attention is the front door of my character. I decide who walks through. I begin in quiet before I enter the market. I feed my mind signal and starve it of spectacle. I obey the 2-minute lag and give boredom a chance to open into depth. I carve arcs and pen the noise. I shape my room so it shapes me. I speak one sentence when a boundary is needed and keep the consequence without heat. I plan as if my time is finite because it is. I am reachable at the gates and reliable in the arcs. I ship useful today and improve it on schedule. I do not send heat. I do not sell my morning to strangers. When I miss, I repair. When I'm praised, I return to work. When I'm criticized, I mine for signal and discard the rest. I live like my attention is my life because it is. If anything in this long, honest conversation cut you in a way that felt like truth, don't let it evaporate into a good feeling. Subscribe right now and hit like, so this training is within reach the next time your thumb tries to choose your day for you. And leave a final public receipt in the comments. Does this happen to you? Do you know someone who needs this? What exact rule are you keeping and what sentence will you say when the test arrives? Then close the app, put the phone in exile, walk to the desk you've cleared, breathe the exhale you learned, read the first line you staged, and begin your arc. When the wolves arrive, they will find a door that doesn't open to begging. When the day ends, you will know what you did with your attention, and that knowledge will put a kind of quiet in your chest the feed cannot manufacture. That quiet is called sovereignty. It is rare, it is real, and now it is yours.